Hello, folks. Welcome back to another round two game. We'll dive into it just 1 second. So the interesting thing now is that first round, it's kind of random pairings throughout. Now we are seeing two players that won both of their games of round one. So as the game goes on, you'll just see more and more people just to get more and more evenly matched is the plan. That's usually how Swiss works. So here we're about to see two players that are both on 7 points going into round two.
Yeah, so as a reminder, if you win one game, you get 3 points. And if you win both games, you get 7 because you get that extra point for winning both games. So let's take a look at our next match.
Okay, so Erin on our left, Jeff on our right. And it looks like they're just figuring out the alterations. Looks like we're picking up a perfect time.
Great.
They're all settled, and they've cut each other's decks, and we should be good to go.
I'm wondering if our card sleeves are matching our deck colors here.
It seems to be a running theme, eh? I don't know whether or not you want to give away one of your one of your colors straight away. Part of me likes the idea of playing an Emerald Amethyst deck and just having yellow sleeves just to throw off the opponent, even if it's only for a second at the beginning of the game.
So Jeff went first for this game, and he inked a Queen's Castle. So that's Amethyst, and we saw that Robin Hood come down. So he's on Amethyst Steel.
And then Erin has inked a Flynn Rider, I believe it was, and we have a Pascal on board. So we're on Emerald Amethyst. I won't lie because I won't be able to hide it. My favorite deck. This is the deck that I was playing through Set Champs recently to get a hold of a Rockstar Stitch. So I'm a big fan of this, hoping it does well, but obviously hoping everyone does well. We see a Mr. Smee there inked for a Pinocchio, and then Pinocchio is going to exert that Pascal, and Robin's going to get rid of it before we get the evasive online. Great turn two for Jeff.
Great turn, yes. Yeah, as we saw from last round, Pascal can do some work once he's evasive. So getting him off the board early is real smart for Jeff here. Oh, Ursula. Okay, I have to say this is one of my favorite flavor card texts. The fact that Ursula steals one of your opponent's song cards is just fantastic. So not only do you get to take one of their song cards, but you also get to see their hand, which is really great advantage.
Yeah, and we get rid of Along Came Zeus there as well. Yeah, really good flavor win with Ursula. Most of the Ursulas doing something about songs. Oh, we see a shift Robin Hood there coming down on turn 3. Really great opening from both of them, really. Obviously, everyone would have liked to have seen that Pascal survive, but overall, a textbook opening from both of these players with these decks.
Yep, so Jeff is on the board now with 3 lore. And that Robin Hood is just such a great card. I mean, he quests for 2. He can, when you take out another character, you get 2 lore. And I believe when he leaves play, you get to draw a card, correct?
Yes, he does all the things. He's an absolute toolbox just on his own. And also, I'll be honest with you, a little tricky to deal with as an Amber Steel, as an Amber Amethyst. Oh my word! As an Emerald Amethyst player, a lot of your board control is looking at bouncing stuff. So you want to see something like that here early on, or if not, you're hoping that the Robin Hood gets exerted, and then you can. Oh wow, having the Pinocchio again to do that again. That's just that's really good. I know a lot of people will play maybe 1 or 2 of these Pinocchios because a lot of the time they're not not fantastic in a matchup. But here we're seeing Jeff play at least 2 and just having them exactly when he wanted them.
Yeah, and that Ursula that he got rid of, that's the one where you can sing a song twice, which can really do a lot of work. In fact, you see that Friends on the Other Side going down. You can draw 4 cards if you sing that with Ursula. So
yeah, and now it's nothing more than ink because Ursula not being able to sing it again. I mean, still, still great value, but instead here we're seeing it as ink, and we're seeing a Mother Knows Best. Erin having both the cards that Ursula wants to sing in her deck and just having them shut down with that little Pinocchio that could. My goodness.
The little Pinocchio that could, indeed. Yeah, and that Robin Hood back to his hand, it slows him down a little bit, but we're going to see him come down again soon.
And also, yeah, there's pros and cons to bouncing a shifted card back. They both go back to Jeff's hand, and especially a little bit further into the game, it just kind of gives him an ink with the little Robin Hood, and then being able to play the big Robin Hood. Here instead, he's going to try and get that shift going again.
Now, he didn't do anything with Pinocchio. He didn't quest. What do you think he's thinking there?
He may well be able to bounce it. So we're seeing Rabbit and Pinocchio here. So he may well have, I'm assuming most certainly will have something like foxes and snakes.
Sure.
Being able to then just quest with that Pocono, pick it back up again, and then most likely replay it and give the fox a target straight away, really quite strong. So yeah, at this point, you don't really want to be turning that Pinocchio sideways and just letting her own fox come running into it. Instead, it's much better value to be able to pick that up and get it back down again and use that entering playability again.
Yeah, that makes sense. And they both played rabbits this turn. So, of course, the rabbit gives you a draw when he comes into play and when he leaves play. And then also that cursed merfolk, which, that.
Just a great quester.
Yes.
To quest for 2, it's only a 0-1, but does require you to discard a card if you take it out in a challenge. There we're seeing the shifted Robin Hood that we expected. It's only getting rid of the Ursula, which isn't the most amazing target, but you are gaining that lore from the challenge, and it's just cleaning the board up. It's still perfectly acceptable thing to do. We see another little Robin Hood getting inked there.
Yeah. So with that Robin Hood and the steel matchup, what do you think that Erin's thinking here? I know that you know this Amethyst Emerald deck really well.
Yeah, steel is definitely one of the more difficult matchups, mostly just because of their larger willpower. A lot of the mid to late game steel stuff, Robin Hood here being a 3/6, it's there's just difficult to clean up. You're going to want to start throwing foxes and stuff in, but you're going to need fox plus crab to deal with it. You're having to put all of your turn and 2 cards into getting rid of one of theirs that then just draws them a card as well. It's definitely a difficult thing. Really, most of your board control in the Amethyst Emerald deck is around bouncing. So it's Mother Knows Best. I imagine Erin is running Kit Cloud Kickers as well, although Kit's only able to bounce 2 strength stuff back, so it doesn't really apply here with Robin Hood. But I imagine most of it is you're never really sort of hard getting rid of anything. It's a tempo. You're just getting stuff that they have to replay and hoping that's enough for you to sort of run away with it. Now we see a goat coming down and gaining a lore, and then a Pascal. Hopefully will live a little longer than the first one did.
yes. And then she quested there with Cursed Merfolk, which, it's one of those cards where you get 2 lore off of it, and if they decide to banish, then they discard a card, and there's nothing wrong with that. It really makes people make bad decisions, I feel like.
Yeah, the problem with Merfolk is as the game goes on, oh wow, big tink just completely ignores what I was about to say.
Right.
Well, as the game goes on, there's more chance that Jeff's able to empty his hand before challenging into the Merfolk. Obviously, if you have no cards to discard, it makes it a really, really awesome trade for you. So, but here it's not something we have to worry about. Giant Tinkerbell coming down and getting rid of them, and then just being able to clean up the rest of the collateral damage with the rabbit and the Robin Hood.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice if Erin could see some of those bigger bodies so that she could deal with that Robin Hood and that big Tink now too, because she's a pretty big body as well.
Yep, exactly. The longer this game goes on, the bigger steel stuff is just going to become trickier and trickier for Erin to deal with. At this point, it kind of becomes a bit of a race in lore more than anything. We can see that with Goat exerting, Fox bringing the Goat back. Great line, gets you to renew that Goat next turn, and Fox unfortunately doesn't even get rid of the Hood here. Yeah, I feel like I'd probably go for the Pinocchio to stop him being able to pick that back up and reusing it again, but it's still not great. Instead of going for the rabbit, letting him draw a card, that's fine as well. That was a tough choice there, I think, for what the Fox is going. Oh, that's not so bad. With the snake, you can get to pick that Fox back up again. That's pretty good play for Erin. It might be a little too late, but it was a solid line.
Yeah. So then, of course, Jeff knows now that Fox is coming back down again, which he's not really in danger. What do you think he's thinking here?
Yeah, well, just that, honestly. The Robin Hood and the Tinkerbell will both survive Fox. So he's assuming Erin must have at least Fox and Crab here to take one of them out. Spellbook is just going to help him just quicken up the end of this game here. Spellbook is literally an item that just says, exert this, get a lore. Simple as that. You have to pay 2 ink to activate it. But just that 1 lore doesn't seem like much, but over the space of 2 or 3 turns, it's just like having an extra character on the board, really. And here, we've just seen everything turn sideways. He knows Fox can come back down, but it's not taking out Tinkerbell. It's not taking out Robin Hood on its own. He can take out the Pinocchio, but at that point, I feel like he's got the value out of that.
Yeah, and with what he has on the board now, I think he's going to win next turn unless Erin can find some answers here.
Yeah, he currently has it. Obviously, that Pinocchio needs to get picked off here. We need to have that Pinocchio be taken out. What Erin would love to see here is like a fox and a crab, with the snake going into the Pinocchio.
Yeah.
The fox bouncing the snake and playing a crab, and being able to go bigger, I think is probably the way to go with this. If she doesn't have the crab, she gets another turn, but the steel is doing a lot of work here.
Yeah. Looks like she only has 5 ink in her inkwell, so she would need to ink something else in order to play both fox and crab.
Yeah. It's a tough choice for Erin here, I think.
It is.
This is a tricky line. With the 2-round format, with the 2-game format, excuse me, there's less of a onus on just thinking, well, am I better off just scooping up here and trying again? Because you've definitely got the time to get the 2 games in. One of the problems with a best of 3 format is you can very often run out of time. So sometimes it might be worth just thinking, do you know what? I'm probably not coming back from this one. We'll go again. That's what she's decided to do. Yep. I feel like that's pretty fair. Like he still had it on the board with the spell book. I forgot about the spell book there, giving him the extra one, so he needs to get rid of at least something there. So.
Yeah, that spellbook is a real fun card.
It's just that extra value of having something down there that's very difficult to answer. We don't really see that much item removal in the game.
No.
Arguably, the Benger in steel is pretty much it. I mean, there's some Sapphire decks run Judy Hobbs. And we may well see a little bit more in set 4 coming in. We have an item board wipe in set 4 coming. Yes. But as it stands, very often people aren't taking against items. So that can just come down. It's basically free value.
Absolutely. Yeah. That seemed like a tough matchup, and maybe that Erin just wasn't getting the draws that she needed, because I know that deck can do really well, and it wasn't an unfavorable matchup. So it'll be interesting to see how the next game goes.
Yeah, it could have gone either way, that one, honestly. I think just that Jeff having that Pinocchio twice so early on, getting rid of the Pascal and then the Ursula Deceiver of All, just absolutely shutting that deck down early on, mean that he could sort of sit back and sort of play a little bit slower and then just take the win.
Yeah.
So those Pinocchios put a ton of work in for it.
Yes. Well, let's see if she can get that Ursula Deceiver to work in this next game. Let's take a look. All right. Looks like they've already altered their decks or altered their opening hands. And so Jeff went first last time, so Erin's going to be leading off this time around.
So yeah, at this point, one of the great things about Emerald Amethyst is it is a real true tempo deck. It can shift to an aggro playstyle, or it can shift to a control playstyle if it needs to. And I think Erin's probably going to want to try and get out the gate a little faster here. You would love to see a Curse Merfolk on turn 1. We see a Pascal. That's fine as well. Again, as long as we don't have the Pinocchio answer. But yeah, so just getting some early questers down on the board. This deck runs things like Curse Merfolk that quest for 2 on turn 1, Flynn Riders that quest for 2 on turn 2. If we can get a couple of those down and get them to stick for a turn or 2, it then makes Jeff's job a lot more difficult, because whilst he's dealing with all the answers, he's not gaining that lore, and Erin can start to trickle away at the lore total that's needed.
Yeah, and it looks like Jeff didn't have anything for his turn 1. A crab went into his inkwell, but
that's probably a difficult mulligan for him.
Let's see what songs he has. Oh, okay. So Long Came Zeus.
Just the one target there with the Long Came Zeus. You'll see that Jeff did separate all of the non-character stuff. That may well just be because Bare Necessities, which is the other card that lets an opponent look at the inkwell, look at your hand, and get rid of something, can hit just non-characters. So Bare Necessities can hit locations, can hit items. Ursula, very specifically, though, is a song.
Which makes sense, because she's Ursula and she will steal your voice.
So thematic.
What else could Ursula do?
We see Mr. Smee come down on turn 2 there for Jeff. Absolutely fantastic. Turn 2. Oh, we have some nice
an evasive marker. Look
at that. So, helping the casters. How nice of them.
Yes. Tinkerbell is going into her inkwell. And there's the big Ursula coming down. So hopefully that'll stick and she can play some songs, sing some songs. I just love also that the singing, mechanic that's in Disney Lorcana. Of course, Disney and songs, music just is something that we all know and love. And so the fact that characters can sing songs in this game besides just paying with them from your inkwell is just so very Disney, and I just love it.
I completely agree. Not only is it incredibly thematic, they're good. Like singing songs is a really fantastic mechanic. Like honestly, we look at Lorcana and we look at the new things it's doing to the TCG space, and a lot of people will go to like Floodborn characters as one of their big things. But for me personally, sing songs and being able to sing them is one of the best things that the game has brought to the TCG space. So we're seeing a quest from Smee there, and then being bounced back with Fox. Absolutely great lines. Smee, obviously, if he's at the end of your turn and still out without a captain, he will start to take damage. Here, he's just he's able to just get picked up and have the fox come out, and as you can see, the fox has rush.
Love it. I love those markers. That's great.
So Ursula survived.
Ursula survived.
The big thing now
does she have?
Yeah, does Erin have a song for it? That's going to be the big thing.
I know that last game we saw Friends on the Other Side go into her inkwell, so obviously that's something she could play here. What are some other songs we might see from Erin?
We also saw her cast a Mother Knows Best as well, which is bounced one thing back that again Ursula can sing. I'll be honest with you, in most Amethyst Emerald decks, those are the two. Like it seems crazy that because the deck is in many ways built around the Ursula singer. But usually they are the two that get played. Honestly, you can lean into a bit more of a discard build and play things like Sudden Chill as well. But honestly, sometimes the only two songs you actually see in the deck are Friends and Mother Knows Best. And honestly, if Ursula comes down on 3, survives a turn, gives you 4 cards or bounce 2 things back, I mean that's still just huge value.
Sure. Oh, we see a snake come down, and she's bringing Pascal back. I wonder if she needs the ink.
Looks like she does. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, which I love that with all the bounce cards with Mim is that you can have a little bit higher uninkable ratio in your deck and bring those cards back for ink.
Yeah. Also, you usually can cap out on ink a little lower to the ground in this deck as well. There's very rarely anything over sort of 4 or 5 in these decks. Sometimes people will take in a couple of 6 drops like Yzma or Genie on the Job, but usually the Tinkerbell that we saw get inked before is actually the high end of this deck, so you can usually get away with a lower ink count.
And so that's the 4 cost, is the highest then character.
I don't know about Erin's deck. We may see something a little higher later on, but classically this deck is a bit more of a lower to the ground deck.
Yeah. I also wonder if Erin just didn't have any songs to sing, or if she wanted, with Mim there on the board, if she wanted to keep her safe.
Unfortunately, we see a Queen's Castle get inked there, and we're able to get what I'm sure is Jeff's favorite play of this of these games. I'm sure when we hear him speak to Tannon in a little while, if he gets the win here, I'm sure he'll be singing the praises of that Pinocchio, because my goodness, it's put some work in for him.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the Ursula did survive, but it doesn't seem like Erin would have had a song for her to sing, unfortunately.
So we're just let's see here. Erin's got 3 lore and Jeff is at 2. So, it's anyone's game right now still.
Yeah, it's definitely still early doors. It could go either way at the moment. The castle coming down is really good for Erin. Jeff, until he gets a bigger steel body down, he's going to probably have a little trouble dealing with that. Although I think we did see alongside came Zeus before, so if we do see one of those,
we did.
That might be able to do a good chunk to it. Rabbit comes down for some draw. It's a fine turn 4 play. It's not the most optimal, really. It's great. Don't get me wrong. Rabbit is fantastic. There's often a lot of other things I would like to do on turn 4, honestly.
Sure. Yeah, that Queen's Castle, if you don't deal with it quickly, it can get out of hand real fast.
Yeah, not only, for those of you who don't know, Queen's Castle is a 4-drop with a move cost of just 1 and 7 willpower. And it says you just gain 2 lore at the start of your turn, but then also any characters that are there at the start of your turn, you draw a card for each of them. So yeah, if it's allowed to stick around for a bit and you can move a couple of things over to it, you can really start to get value out of it. That was a good line, I think. Getting rid of the merfolk kind of needs to be done. If you can't get rid of the castle, at least get rid of that merfolk. Both of them are gaining you 2 lore. One of them had to go, I think.
Yeah, and he did have to discard off of when he banished Cursed Merfolk. It looks like he put a snake into his discard, which, maybe he would have wanted to bounce that rabbit back or Pinocchio even, but maybe he has some other bounce cards waiting in the wings.
Maybe double castle, by the way, from Erin here.
That's...
Yeah. And I think she's definitely seen the line from last game there and got rid of that Pinocchio while she can.
Well, yeah, don't leave that there. Yeah, so Queen's Castle willpower. What is the willpower on that location?
7.
Oh, man, yeah. And he really just doesn't have an answer for that right now. So that Along Came Zeus card would be nice right about now.
Yeah, definitely. Or even, just sort of Fox, Fox and Smee can do it. But it doesn't seem to have the answer for it. And it could well be that these castles just take the game for Erin at this point. Very little board.
Yeah. Do you think he'll quest here with Smee? He doesn't have a captain out. What do you think he does?
Honestly, other than the Captain Hook 1-drop, a lot of players aren't playing a captain for Smee. There's just enough value in him being a 3/3 with 2 lore on 2 that if you turn him sideways 3 times, like you've got the value out of him. Honestly. So
sure.
Obviously it's nice to be able to have a captain there that sticks him in Amber Steel decks. Often he's a good target for Rapunzel healing. Here in Amethyst, again, like we saw before, you can use him as a target for the Fox bounce. So yeah, really lots of options for him. But if nothing else, him questing for 6 before he's gone is actually really quite good.
Yeah, it looks like he actually didn't quest, but instead decided to challenge one of the Queen's castles that Erin has down.
Yeah, just started putting a bit of damage on the castle. A difficult call for Jeff at this point, honestly. Two off the Smee would have kept up with one of the castles. So yeah, he's in a bit of a difficult situation at the moment. It's kind of insane to look at Erin's board and see nothing there other than those castles, but still thinking she's probably got this one.
Yeah, and that every turn she's getting 4 lore just by those 2 Queen's castles just sitting there.
Yeah,
that is probably one of my favorite locations. I love playing with Amethyst, and the Queen's Castle is definitely one of the strongest locations.
There's the Zeus that he was looking for. So maybe he already had that in his hand, and that's why he put the 3 on with Smee. That makes a lot of sense. Knowing that next turn he could get rid of one of them, that's actually makes a lot of sense now.
It is interesting he chose the location that already had the damage on it instead of the other one.
Well, the Zeus does 5 damage. It
does 5 damage.
Yeah, it's not just banish location. It's 5 damage to a character or a location. So he's done the math there and thought, well, that Smee is going to need to help get this Zeus across the line. And then this turn, I think he just quested with it there before it got finished off. So, no, he didn't. No, he did the same thing again.
He did the same thing. 3 damage.
Yeah, those dice are a little tricky for us to see. So a hard casting of friends, it's never what you want to do in this game, really. You'd always like to sing a song if possible, but sometimes you've just got to get a bit of juice. Yeah,
it looks like she has 4 cards in hand right now. So, and at this point in the game, she just probably wants to get some more things on the board. Rafiki going down in the Inkwell.
Yeah, and a Flynn Rider. It's a solid quester. Very big
another
target
one.
For steel removal, but
another one that causes your opponent to discard. So.
Yeah, when challenged into. So will be a high priority for steel removal here. But also Jeff really kind of needs to start sticking some stuff to his board.
Now, I believe that Erin did Mother's Knows Best on his big Robin Hood, right? We haven't seen that come back down. So he does have that in his hand.
Spellbook again. Might probably get a bit more work this time than it did last time. So we'll see if it's enough. He's quite a bit further behind. He gets two lore from the castle there, putting it to 15. I think they caught it. Yeah, okay. So 15. So at this point, I mean, there's an argument for Erin just to put something on the board and turn the Flynn sideways and say to Jeff, go ahead with an answer, really. But it's tricky to know without seeing their hand as to what they're going through and what they're thinking here. But yeah, I do agree that the castle is I mean, one of the best, probably the best location we have in the game, honestly. Set 4 brings some new ones in. I think a couple of those could see some play. The challenge focus ones of Ruby and Steel are pretty solid, I think. But at the moment, the Queen's Castle it's a great body. 7 on the willpower is pretty tough to deal with, and it does the best 2 things in the game for you. It gains lore and it draws cards. It's what you want to be doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I think that she's at 16 right now. The tracker is a little bit behind because she had the goat come down and then she quested with Flynn.
Yes.
So she will take it next turn unless Jeff has. Yep.
Somebody's on its check, perhaps, but yeah, I think you're right there with 16. I think that's correct. So yeah, currently has it on board. Rabbit can deal with Flynn, but also then you're getting into goat territory here. You're getting into sort of bouncing goat territory.
The bouncing goats really are the best.
Yeah, thematic as well. I wonder if there's a sub theme we're seeing, because in set 4 we have a Philatites that lets heroes gain lore as they come down. So I wonder if goats and gaining instant lore is a sub theme that we're going to see in the game.
Yeah. We see Crab come down, so he's taking out that location.
There we go. That's kind of what he needed to do, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could have been an argument to say that the goat should have just moved to that castle there, but at this she has the 1 ink there. But at this point, the castle's gone anyway.
Sure.
But yeah. Oh, and we have another Along Came Zeus, this time taking out the goat, putting her as a 17. But that Flynn lives, so if she has another goat, it's game. Let's see. Goat for game. It's a bit of a meme at this point, but I'd love to see it in real life. I'd love to see it on stream.
Absolutely. Yeah, and really,
even if she doesn't,
yeah, even if she doesn't have the goat, though, I mean, she's at 19 now with Flynn, and I'm not sure as long as she can get another body on the board, I'm not sure what answers Jeff might have here.
Yeah, he's just going to be looking for steel removal if she can play 1 or 2 things he would do better.
Yeah.
Going to bounce the fox and replay the Flynn. She's deciding here now whether the fox takes out Rabbit, I think, but I'm pretty sure you'd just put down a few bodies and say go.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an Ursula.
Okay.
Oh, it's still just that Robin Hood that he has left in his hand.
Yeah,
that we didn't see come back down.
Yeah, I get at this point Ursula's just a body on the board. It's fine, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, she knew that fox was there, and she's elated.
That's game.
There we go.
Yes, fist bump.
We like to see
GG.
Yeah,
that was great. A great game on both players for that one.
I know there are issues. Well, I say issues. Some people have issues with 2-game format. I'm a big fan of it, and I love the fact that both players have managed to go away with a win. They feel good as they move into the next round. They've got some points. I think it's awesome. Yeah.
Yes. How much do you think that going first played into that? Because we did see that Jeff went first and he won that game, and then Erin went first and she won her game. Do you think that played into this match?
Going first is an advantage in any game. You ask white players in chess, they'll tell you that going first is an advantage. So there's always going to be an edge there. It's definitely something that is a thing in Lorcana, and I think the 2-game format is partly a way to help that. But I do think eventually player skill will just sort of override that. On all honesty.
Yes. Well, it's a great game. Thanks for tuning in, and we are going to throw it now to break. We'll see you in round 3.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the feature match area. I'm here with Erin, fresh off of her second game win here. Now, Erin, you were telling me your deck choice is kind of influenced by one of your favorite movies you got to see as a teenager.
100%, yes. I saw The Little Mermaid when I was a kid. Well, I don't know, 13. I went with my little brother. It was his very first Disney movie, and I wasn't really into it because I thought, oh, it's a cartoon. But as soon as I started watching the movie, I just fell in love, and I love Ariel, I love Ursula, and Green Purple was like the choice for me for that.
Yeah, it seems like it really influenced your deck choice. How are you feeling about your deck here this weekend? Looks like it's a lot of fun. It's a personal favorite of mine. How's it going so far?
It's going great so far. That match was actually really tough, and so it was really fun. But I love the bouncing. I love singing. I think it's just like, it embodies Lorcana for sure. It's so fun. Yeah.
Well, Erin, a lot of fun so far for both of you and your opponent. Best of luck the rest of the weekend.
Thanks, Tannon.
Perfect.